John and I were watching the second set of 13 episodes of Okiku Furikabutte, or Big Windup, from Funimation, and it occurred to me that I think Big Windup has got to be one of the easiest anime ever to dub. And I'm going to tell you why.
Hang on a sec. Is he waiting for the forker?
Don't know what this punk's doing with his stance. No way he'll ever hit Kano's forker at the back of the box like that.
Come on, baby.
The biggest challenges that dubs face, the first, of course, is the infamous mouth flaps, timing. It can be very difficult because you have to translate the material, and then you have to find a way to say that exact thing while fitting it into these little mouth flaps. And Japanese is a very different language from English. It's very staccato, very short and quick. By contrast, English can be very flowy, though it doesn't always seem that way with me because I talk very fast. As such, sometimes dialogue, when crammed into these mouths, can sound a little stilted. Now, Disney, when they're working with, say, a Miyazaki flick, can take the time to go through and shift some of the timing on the animation itself. I'm guessing Funimation probably doesn't do a lot of this because the amount of anime in, a 26-episode anime series is considerably more than a movie. The second big challenge is that when anime companies are dubbing things in the US, generally speaking, they are only bringing in one actor at a time. The actor gives the line several times, and then they clip all the lines together at the end. Now, I was a theater major way back in the day, and one of the big things my high school, my freshman year theater teacher always said was that acting is 90% reacting. So it can be really difficult to get a natural sounding conversation going with two people in completely separate rooms just kind of guessing what the other one's saying, which is, I think, one of the reasons why companies tend to prefer to work with the same actors most of the time, not just because they know the quality of their work, but also because the voice actors get to know each other and probably have a better sense of how the other person's going to play that role. But it's very expensive to record two people at once. And that's very different from in Japan. In Japan, when they're dubbing anime, as I understand it, everybody who has a role in that episode sits there, stands there, and records in front of a microphone when they have their line. And they all, time it to the screen. There's a lot of training that goes into it, just technical training in Japan, that we don't do here because our market's not big enough to afford anything like that. Back to Big Windup. Big Windup has two really key elements to it that I think make it a much easier dub. A significant chunk of the dialogue, perhaps even most of it, is not being said. It is what the characters are thinking while they're sitting there through the game.
Don't be afraid, Miyashi. Show him you're a different pitcher than you were in junior high.
Which means no mouth flaps to worry about for most of the lines. You could have a much more natural sounding line because you don't have to worry about cramming it into that. The second thing is that most of the characters are thinking to themselves, so you don't have them talking to somebody else, resulting in any stilted sounding conversations.
They usually take trash talking with a grain of salt, but it looks like they were right about him. I can't wait to get my turn at the plate.
The lines, or at least the multiple lines that a single character is thinking all in a row, are kind of self-contained. They don't depend on somebody else's input and sounding like a real conversation. I think that might be one of the reasons why Big Windup has such a great dub. And if you're at all interested in baseball, and I mean just even a tiny bit, because that's about as all the interest that I have, I think you can really enjoy this show. But be warned, it's the kind of show where a single game can easily take 10 episodes.